What if I told you there's a secret world where $20 bottles outperform $200 masterpieces? Where do discontinued legends live again? And where do rare treasures become accessible to everyone? Today, we're diving into 5 clone fragrances that don't just match their originals, they completely destroy them. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jesse, and I'm glad you clicked on this video where we uncover the fragrance world's best kept secrets. 3 months ago, I walked into a local fragrance meetup expecting the usual suspects. You know the drill, rows of Creed, Tom Ford, and Maison Margiela samples passed around like sacred relics. But tucked away in the corner, this guy named David was getting mobbed by a crowd. Everyone kept asking the same question. What are you wearing? The bottle in his hand looked like a royal blue pillar with an ornate cap. Historic Olmeda, he said, grinning like he just shared state secrets. $25 from a website I'd never heard of. The crowd went silent. Then came the doubt. Classic fragrance snob behavior. There's no way that performs like the real thing. But here's where historic Olmeda breaks every rule you know about clone fragrances. This isn't trying to copy one expensive fragrance. It's a Frankenstein creation that grabbed the best DNA from 4 legendary blues. Dylan Blue's freshness, Bleu de Chanel's sophistication, Aventus's power, and Sauvage's mass appeal. The opening hits you with grapefruit and bergamot that's brighter than Dylan Blue. Pink pepper adds that Sauvage bite without the harshness. As it settles, juniper and apple create this crisp, almost gin-like quality that Bleu de Chanel wishes it had. Then comes the dry down, cedar and amberwood, with a musky backbone that projects like Aventus on steroids. I sprayed historic Olmeda on one arm and Sauvage on the other that day. 6 hours later, Sauvage had faded to a skin scent. Historic Olmeda, still broadcasting from 3 feet away, David wasn't lying. This $25 bottle was outperforming a $100 designer fragrance in every measurable way. But the real test came 2 weeks later when I wore it to a dinner party. 3 separate people asked what I was wearing, including someone who collects niche fragrances. When I told him it was a $25 clone, his response was priceless. I need to rethink everything. Historic Olmeda succeeds because it doesn't try to be a perfect copy. Instead, it cherry-picks the most addictive elements from multiple classics and cranks up the performance. You get the versatility of a blue fragrance with the projection of a beast mode fragrance. It's like having 4 expensive bottles in one, except this one actually lasts all day. My friend Marcus has a problem. He's obsessed with Parfums de Marly Greenly, that $160 apple-heavy masterpiece that smells like expensive shampoo in the best possible way. He owns 3 bottles and panic buys backups whenever he sees a good deal. So when he discovered Nexa Immortal by Ruba, I expected typical clone disappointment. Instead, Marcus called me at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, practically shouting into the phone, "Dude, this clone is actually better than the original." The bottle alone tells you Nexa Immortal isn't playing safe. That pearlescent finish looks like something from a sci-fi movie, shifting colors under different lighting. It's bold, futuristic, and completely unapologetic. The opposite of Greenlee's understated elegance. But the real magic happens when you spray it. Greenlee opens with a subtle apple and bergamot blend that takes time to develop. Nexa Immortal explodes with apple, bergamot, and mandarin orange that hits you like a citrus bomb. It's Greenlee's opening on performance-enhancing drugs. We did a side-by-side test that weekend. Greenlee on the left arm, Nexa Immortal on the right. For the first 2 hours, there was no contest. Nexa Immortal was louder, brighter, and more attention-grabbing. That enhanced citrus opening makes you smell expensive immediately. No development time required. As they dried down, something interesting happened. Both fragrances converged on that creamy, slightly soapy territory that makes Greenlee so beloved. Oak moss, musk, and floral notes created nearly identical dry downs. But Nexa Immortal maintained a better projection throughout the day. Here's why Nexa Immortal is superior. It fixes Greenlee's biggest weakness. The original starts quietly and builds slowly. Great for sophistication, terrible for impact. Nexa Immortal gives you that instant gratification while maintaining the sophisticated dry down. Plus, at $20 versus $160, you can spray it liberally without feeling guilty. Marcus now reaches for Nexa Immortal more often than his beloved Greenlee. When I asked why, his answer was simple. Why would I save the clone for special occasions when it performs better than the original? Last year, I spent 3 months hunting for Electimus Imperium, not because I'm a masochist, but because every fragrance forum called it the hidden gem that puts Aventus to shame. The problem was, nobody had it. Electimus isn't a household name, production is limited, and when bottles surface, they're $200 minimum. After weeks of disappointment, I stumbled across Bravanzo Imperial by Ramon Blazar. The description made bold claims: Electimus Imperium inspired with Nishane Ani and Cedrat Boise influences. Translation: another clone trying to ride multiple coattails? But sometimes the fragrance gods smile on skeptics. Bravanzo Imperial opens with this citrus-vanilla combination that immediately reminded me of descriptions I'd read about Imperium. Bright bergamot and lemon, but softened by vanilla that prevents any harshness. It's approachable yet sophisticated, exactly what you want from a signature scent. The Nishane Ani influence shows up in the mid-development. There's this creamy, slightly spicy quality that adds depth without overwhelming the citrus foundation. It's like someone took Ani's sophistication and made it wearable for everyday situations. As it dries down, woody notes emerge that channel Cedrat Boise's DNA. Cedar and subtle smokiness create this masculine backbone that keeps the vanilla from being too sweet. The result is a fragrance that feels familiar, yet unique, like meeting someone who reminds you of 3 different friends. Here's where Bravanzo Imperial becomes superior to its inspiration. Accessibility. Electimus Imperium might be slightly more complex, but good luck finding it. When you do, expect to pay premium prices for a niche fragrance most people have never heard of. Bravanzo Imperial gives you 90% of that experience for 20% of the cost, and you can actually buy it without joining waitlists or refreshing websites. Sometimes being almost perfect and available beats being perfect and impossible to find. The performance is stellar too. 8-hour longevity with moderate sillage that won't clear rooms but ensures you smell great in close conversations. It's become my go-to for situations where I want to smell expensive without breaking the bank or worrying about wasting precious sprays. Few things in the fragrance world hurt more than falling in love with something that's been discontinued. In 2019, Gucci quietly killed Pour Homme 2, taking with it one of the most elegant tea fragrances ever created. Overnight, a $70 bottle became a $300 Grail fragrance. I learned this lesson the hard way when my friend Ryan introduced me to his last remaining bottle of Pour Homme 2. One spray, and I understood the hype. This wasn't just a fragrance, it was liquid sophistication. Tea, subtle spices, and woods blended into something that smelled like expensive calm. "You can't buy this anymore," Ryan said, watching my face as the fragrance developed. "I've been rationing this bottle for 2 years." That's the cruelty of discontinued fragrances. You discover perfection just as it becomes impossible to own. Enter Fraglovers Tea by FOMO. The name alone suggested someone understood the assignment. This wasn't trying to be the next big thing, it was trying to bring back something beautiful that had been lost. The bottle is simple, almost medicinal, but the liquid inside tells a different story. That first spray brought back immediate memories of Ryan's treasure. Tea leaves, subtle sweetness, and a calming quality that makes stress evaporate. But here's where Fraglovers Tea becomes superior to its inspiration. You can actually buy it, while collectors hoard remaining bottles of Pour Homme 2 and charge ridiculous prices. FOMO makes their version accessible to everyone who missed out the first time. The quality is remarkable for a clone house. That tea note feels authentic, not synthetic. The dry down maintains the original sophistication without cutting corners. If anything, it might be slightly stronger than the original, giving you better projection and longevity. We tested them side by side using Ryan's precious remaining sprays. The differences were minimal, slightly different opening intensities but nearly identical dry downs. For practical purposes, Fraglovers Tea is pour homme. 2. Just available and affordable. Ryan's reaction said everything. I wish I'd discovered this sooner. I could have been enjoying this scent instead of hoarding it. That's the power of a well-executed clone. It doesn't just copy a fragrance, it liberates it from artificial scarcity and makes beauty accessible again. Tobacco fragrances occupy a special place in the fragrance world. Done right, they're sophisticated and warming. Done wrong, they smell like ashtrays and regret. Parfums de Marly Herod set the gold standard. Rich tobacco wrapped in vanilla and spices that costs $165 and performs like a luxury car. But Maison Alhambra's Hercules proves that sometimes the apprentice surpasses the master. I discovered Hercules during my tobacco fragrance phase last winter. Everyone recommended Herod as the ultimate tobacco scent, but the price tag made me hesitate. A friend suggested trying Hercules first. If you don't like it, you've only wasted $25 instead of $165. The bottle isn't winning any design awards. That cap looks like something from a covered wagon, and the overall presentation screams budget option. But none of that matters when the juice performs like liquid gold. Fresh out of the box, Hercules smells good, but not spectacular. Here's where patience becomes crucial. This fragrance needs time to reach its potential. After 2 weeks of occasional testing, something magical happened. The tobacco became richer, the vanilla more prominent, and the overall blend more harmonious. Tobacco lovers know this aging phenomenon. Herod does the same thing, but you're gambling $165 on the process. With Hercules, you're risking lunch money. The performance comparison is where things get interesting. Both fragrances project well for the first few hours, then settle into intimate skin scents. But Hercules maintains that projection slightly longer, giving you more bang for significantly fewer bucks. Side by side, they're nearly identical in the dry down. Herod might have slightly more complexity in the opening, but once they settle, you'd struggle to identify which is which in a blind test. Here's why Hercules is superior. Value proposition. Herod is undeniably beautiful, but it's not $140 more beautiful than Hercules. That price difference could buy you 5 more fragrances to explore, or simply let you spray liberally without financial anxiety. For tobacco fragrance newcomers, Hercules is the perfect introduction. If you love it, you can always upgrade to Herod later. But honestly, after living with both for months, I reach for Hercules more often simply because I can enjoy it without overthinking the cost per spray. Here's what makes these 5 fragrances special. They don't just copy their inspirations, they improve on them in meaningful ways. Historic Olmeda combines multiple classics into something stronger than any individual original. Nexa Immortal fixes Greenlee's slow start with explosive citrus. Bravanzo Imperial makes rare beauty accessible. Fraglovers Tea resurrects discontinued perfection. Hercules delivers luxury performance without luxury anxiety. For spring and summer, reach for Nexa Immortal or Fraglovers Tea. Both offer sophisticated freshness that won't overwhelm in the heat. Fall and winter belong to Bravanzo Imperial and Hercules with their richer, warmer profiles. Historic Olmeda works year-round as your versatile blue option. But the real lesson here goes deeper than seasonal recommendations. These clones prove that price doesn't always equal quality, and sometimes the copy improves on the original. In a world where fragrance prices keep climbing, that's not just good news, it's revolutionary. What's your experience with clone fragrances that outperform their originals? Drop your discoveries in the comments. I'm always hunting for the next hidden gem. And if this video opened your eyes to the clone fragrance world, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more fragrance secrets that nobody else is talking about. Trust me, we're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, smell and feel good, stay fragrant.